Hey, what's up guys, Duct here, and today we're back with yet another video here on Hypixel Skyblock. Now, last night there was an update which came out and it released several new items including personal compactors, foraging sacks, and sacks for basically everything. So there's like a foraging sack, a farming sack, a mining sack, combat sack, slayer sack. There's a bunch of its sacks. But the thing I want to focus on today is actually a new enchant they added called Replenish, and another little thing they added where double drops actually work on other items in farming. Now, what I mean by that is they now work on, for example, cocoa beans and other things like carrots and potatoes. So when you're breaking potatoes or carrots, it automatically replants it. Also, your double drop rate or triple drop rate or whatever applies as well. So basically, it's great. It's wonderful. But what we're going to be focusing on today in this video in particular is cocoa beans. Now, why cocoa beans even matter? You're like, why do you even care about cocoa beans? There's a reason. The reason is cocoa beans are the entire purpose of Replenish. Now, what I mean by that is Cocoa Bean 8 Collection is how you craft the Replenish 1 book. And as of right now, it's the only way to get it. Well, for the first hour or two, you're able to literally enchant for it, which people made millions of dollars off doing that. Similar to when Sugar Rush came out, the same thing happened. But you can't do that anymore. So now you have to get 16 enchanted cookies just to be able to make one Replenish 1 book. And enchanted cookies take 2 stacks of enchanted cocoa beans and 32 wheat to craft. Now these enchanted cookies are selling right now for a little bit over 200k, which is quite a bit more than they were selling for previously. And also, would you like to know how fast you can break cocoa beans while flying? Yep, you can insta-break cocoa beans. And throw that on top of personal compactor now, so I could just throw a auto-craft slot for enchanted cocoa bean. And yeah, basically this is very, very good for money. You want to fly like a little bit underneath, and then just cruise along. You don't want to go too fast, because then you'll miss the third row high, but if you just cruise along like this, we're getting, as you can see, we already got 6 enchanted cocoa beans, and basically a full harvest of this gets me about 8 stacks of enchanted cocoa beans right now. Obviously it's not like completely 100% grown right now, so that's gonna obviously not help too much. But if it were completely grown, which most of this actually is, you could just do that. And you could fly, so you don't have to build dirt underneath, which we didn't realize when we were first starting. We were going, alright, we're gonna shift walk and do it. Nope, you can actually just fly relatively, slowly and do it. You can't go full speed flying, but you could go decent speed. But anyways, I want to show you how to make it real quick. So I'll be back in a second when I have the materials to make it, which is pretty much all you need is cocoa beans and jungle wood. That's pretty much all you need. So the actual design for this is basically you're going to have no gaps in between the cocoa beans. This is just going to be the most space efficient design that you could build. So basically, if you want to add another layer, you're going to go over 2 blocks, go out on the third one, another 2 blocks, go out on the third one, and just continue all the way, which I'm going to start over here. That way I could try and make it the most basically make the best example I can. So for this, you want to just make literally a line. Now, you want to do this flying, probably. You can build a floor beneath it, but really, it's now that your flight stacks easier and saves when you go to the hub, really, you could just stack on a bunch of flight and probably constantly having flight enabled, which is what I'm doing. But if you don't want to do that, you could just drink soup when you're about to farm, and that'll work as well. Technically, you can do it on foot, I just don't see the point in placing a whole dirt floor just to be able to walk on if you can do it without having to place a whole floor of dirt, which will take you quite a bit of time. So once you built your jungle wood 3 high, as long as you want it, so eventually I'm going to build it all the way out that way, then you want to place your cocoa beans. So essentially you just want to place it on probably the bottom first, because keep in mind you're going to have another wall here, so you can't be this far out like I am. You're probably going to place it from the bottom to the top. You can also do it like this if you're fast enough. You could do 2 layers at once, basically. That works as well. But keep in mind, like I said, I'm pretty much standing in the 3rd block, so really you're going to have to do it more like this. It's a little bit tighter of an angle, but that's how you're going to do it. You're just going to place your cocoa beans like that. And keep in mind that jungle wood can be used on both sides, so you can't even do it like this. You could do it like this as well with doing all 3 at once. that works too. You could also consider maybe adding a fourth one if you really want to. The reason I'm going with 3 is because I don't want to slow down that much to break it. If you make it taller, it's like if we added a 4th or 5th layer on here like this, I believe you could still mine it, but it's going to be harder to break. Like, you're going to have to slow down more. Like, see, I could still reach it up there. I could probably even still reach it if it's a 5th layer, but just like a cobble generator, you're rarely ever breaking that top block anyways, so it's probably not worth really having it up there. Can't even, I'm not so I think that's the highest one. So the highest I could do is 4, probably. Yeah, the highest I could reasonably do is 4. If I really stretch it, I could do 5 by still flying under. But I don't think that that's probably worth it. Like, 5 is the max you should maybe consider doing. I'm going with 3 because if you look at this, 3 is, like, you still have to slow down a bit to even do 3. Like, I can't go full speed, but I can sort of, like, tap W and keep going. So I feel like 3 is probably the best speed that you or the speed I would suggest going. You can do more, though, if you really want to. You're just going to have to go more straight up and, like, slower. Like, you're going to have to go like this, probably, instead. Which, you know, isn't that much slower. It might even be more efficient. I haven't tested it. But you get the point. You could go taller if you really want to. But I've been doing 3 because I'd rather go faster, and I have enough rows that... Basically, this size is pretty much constantly farmable. I'd say if I did... out to right here probably would be constantly farmable and almost completely grown. Probably not completely grown, like there might be a couple of these ones at the top, but pretty much it'll be fully grown all the way through. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and fully farm the cocoa bean farm and show you how many cocoa beans or how many enchanted cocoa beans I get and overall how many enchanted cookies I can make from that to see how much money I can make on the bazaar. So we'll be back in a second.
Oh my baby, got me staring at you, so I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop, got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride.
Alright, for me to fully harvest the farm took me a little bit under 15 minutes, at least from the part that I currently have built. And from that harvest, we get 6 and close to 7 stacks, not quite 7 stacks. For reference, every 2 stacks is going to be 1 enchanted cookie, so about 3.5 enchanted cookies, pretty much. If we go ahead and throw on... You do need wheat to be able to craft it. You don't need very much. You only need 32 wheat for every cookie that you're going to craft. So since we're crafting 3 cookies, we're going to need a little tiny bit more, like 32 more, which isn't too bad. We can buy that real quick from the dude. Then it's going to take, so it's crafted like this, although quick craft works as well. You need 4 stacks of enchanted cocoa beans, or 2 stacks, so 32 in each, and 32 wheat. We'll make 1 enchanted cookie, so there we go, 2 enchanted cookies. And then if you're making the one like I just mentioned, if I do it correctly, you need basically just 32 in each slot, enchanted cookies. So we got 3 enchanted cookies and 53 enchanted cocoa beans. So we come over to the bazaar over here. We go to sell enchanted cookies, create sale offer. So out of the enchanted cookies, we're going to make about 650k or 219k, basically 220k per. So when you're watching this video, they might be down to like 200k, kind of hard to say for sure. And then we'll make another 86k from our enchanted cocoa beans there. So in total, about, not quite 750k, so probably like 730k, let's say. Math is hard. About 700, a little bit under 740k for our 15 minutes of time. So if we did that 4 times, we would make 740k times 4. So if we farm for 1 hour at this current rate, we would make about 3 mil in an hour, which is very good compared to pretty much anything. That would be equivalent to about 5 to 6 summoning eyes, closer to 6, a little bit like 5.5, 5 3/4 summoning eyes in an hour, that's not going to happen probably, or very, very rarely. So it's very good right now, but it's probably going to go down, so don't expect this to stay up forever. But I imagine it will stay... So right now, Enchant Cookie's at 220k basically. I imagine it will probably go down to 150. It'll probably go down to about 150k per. Maybe a little bit further down. It kind of depends how many people start farming cocoa beans, so this video might not help that. I don't know. But it's besides the point. But basically, it's pretty good for money. I've made probably 10 mil from it already, at least, and that's, you know, what, 3 hours of farming so far, and if I keep farming it, more and more money gonna flow in. Also, if you're wondering, the axe I'm using is just a plain old golden axe, just a common one, just one you can craft with gold. Efficiency 5 enchant on it with telekinesis and just replenish. There's nothing fancy about it, just a good old regular axe, basically. Well, of course, replenish is kind of fancy now because replenish is pretty expensive. I think at the current price, replenish would cost 220, 3.5 mil, so about an hour's worth of farming my farm, basically, is about the cost of that book. So it's not a cheap book. I have it on my hoe and my axe right now, and it is very, very good for some other stuff like carrots and potatoes as well. Although we might do a separate video on that at some point, because I might have an idea with some of that. Anyways, guys, hope this video helps y'all make lots of bank from cocoa beans or really anything. Replenish is just super good right now. Also on wheat is selling super expensive right now because people are trying to get the farming bags, but I imagine it will go back down to at least a moderate price, because I think right now it's selling 15 coins per wheat piece, which that's ridiculous, but you know, I mean, if it stays there, dang, that's pretty crazy. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed today's video here on making luscious dollars with cocoa beans, or really on the Replenish enchant is really what this is about. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video.